What can I say?
Mike's all over the place.
Kristen.
So I've got Arthur Allen backing me up on this one, on djembe, and he's gonna sing. So, this next piece is called Landmines, and kind of silly because I preface it by saying no actual grandmothers or Turks were harmed in the making of this poem. But this poem I kind of dedicate to all the activists out there. I actually write it from the perspective of the aggressor. It's kind of dedicated to Rachel Corrie, who's an American protester that died, unfortunately, in Palestine. But I also kind of want to shout out today. I'm wearing a scarf for Shiva Nazar Ahari, who is an activist in Iran who's just let out of jail on bail. I know, so stop back and actually write a letter, because we've got some postcards back there for prisoners of conscience in Iran. But also, I just want people to think about, we can do a lot of things in this country that we kind of take for granted. And one of the things that she got put in jail for was actually working for child labor laws. That's something we really take for granted here. There's a lot of people in other countries that can't be part of a union, that can't participate in those kinds of things. And so I wanted to give a shout out to her and other activists in other countries. And we've got our union president here at our local AFGE. So everyone wave to him. Hey, John. So this is called Landmines.
Right.
And we're doing all this on Instagram.
Why not?
I know who I'm supposed to hate.
She is.
And I spit. And as I locked the eyes of the Turk below me, the pierce of my blade was mercifully brief. And I whispered, that was for my grandmother. Cyprus was not as kind to her as her Greek blood poured red over the streets of her city, so a man could stand where she once was, and it still is and will always be Constantinople. To me, I've come to claim back the roots that saturate the soil, because the credo of "we were here first" is good enough for me. But I live on land too. And you can never be too ready for the next salivating sap to show up his share and search, looking for the deed I hold to my home, to the blood-red river that runs out back. So I keep a pile of dirt stockpiled somewhere in a rickety shack labeled Motherland, and I dole it out in plastic bags when history comes to collect. And I have just enough for the millions of starving souls enslaved to this idolatry of ownership. And I say, here's your earth, brother. She's cold and hard, but she'll keep you tonight. It's what you came for, isn't it? And wasn't it worth your neighbor's blood, your firstborn son, your grandchild? And never mind watching your religion roll over belly up under the forces of this fanatical fiction. And never mind the future generations' eyes glazed under the red of perpetual revolution. And I hear you, faint, a conscient whisper, with your picket signs and your wild announcements that this is not our land, that it is her own, and she is a glorious mother that provides for black, white, brown alike. And I hear you as the bulldozers are crushing the houses of Palestinians, as they are crushing the ribs of American protester Rachel Corrie, whose surprised lips struggled for a final grasp, who thought her blood could run with the blood of others, veins intact, heart synchronized, brainwaves alive under freedom skies. You say we can eat from the fruit of this tree together, sister to brother to comrade to kin. And over the rush of blood that pushes the crevice of Steve Biko's head, I start to hear you say we contend her in unison. Our commerce committed to peace and plowshares, our currency consisting of kinder capital. But I sleep on a bag of dirt tonight, and it's cold, but it's mine. And it buries the bodies of those who would fight me for it, and it fills the empty circles of my soul. And I can spread it thin to cover my trespasses, or I can stack it high to keep others out. And it is heavy like burden, or dark like despair, and it is inert and oblivious to my sins, and it does not love me because it does not love. But it has my name stamped on the side, and when I die, it will anchor my grave that will one day proclaim, here lies man with land.